Campaign ads are dominating the airwaves right now, and some make pretty outlandish claims about the candidates. Several verified viewers emailed asking if political ads have to be factually accurate. Using these sources, we looked into whether politicians are actually required to tell the truth in their ads. Here's Brendan Lewis.
The rules for political ads are very different than typical consumer products. And we want to be clear up front that the answer to this question is no. Political ads are not required to be factual in order to be aired on broadcast television. In fact, the law allows politicians to say almost whatever they want in a commercial. This is because political ads are regulated by the FCC, which applies just two rules. One is that all candidates have the same opportunity to buy commercial time on stations. And two is that politicians can say whatever they want. Accuracy is not one of the rules, although TV stations could run a disclaimer explaining the rules before airing an ad. The only consequence for politicians who produce misleading or false ads is in court, and that's only if they defame someone, which is rare and hard to prove.
I think the rationale behind it is what? The idea of saying that candidates get to say what they want, and what? The voters get to sort of, through the marketplace of ideas, decide what's true, what's false.
That marketplace could also include news stories or fact checks, like Verify stories explaining what's true and false.
Sometimes you might see a lot more ads from one candidate than you see from their opponent. This raises a question that a lot of people have during the election season. Aren't candidates guaranteed equal amounts of airtime? Casey Decker joins us to discuss what the rules really are. Hey, Casey. So what are the rules when it comes to giving equal time to candidates on TV?
Well, the Communications Act says that if a candidate gets airtime on a station, that station, quote, shall afford equal opportunities to all other such candidates for that office. In general, that means if a candidate appears on air for more than 4 seconds, their opponent must be given an opportunity to appear as well. But there are some big exceptions. Notably, news coverage and interviews don't count.
So then what does count?
Entertainment content. So, for example, when Dr. Oz ran for Senate, he stopped making his show, in part because any station that aired it would have had to offer equal free airtime to his opponent. But there's another key limitation of this law. Notice it says equal opportunities, not actually equal time. So if a candidate buys an ad on a TV station for $1,000 in prime time, that station has to give their opponent the option to purchase an ad for the same price in prime time. But if the opponent doesn't want to buy that ad space, the station doesn't have to do anything else.
Do these rules also apply to all media, like cable TV, podcasts, or online publications?
No, this law only applies to broadcast stations, networks, and radio. So cable channels and the internet aren't affected by any of this. That means CNN, ESPN, Hulu, Facebook, none of them have to offer equal opportunities. For instance, a few months ago, Elon Musk interviewed Donald Trump on X. But under the law, he is not required to give Kamala Harris the option for a similar interview.
Understood. So that means no, political candidates are not guaranteed equal amounts of airtime. Casey Decker, thank you. Next, a lot of money has been raised this election season. Vice President Kamala Harris has reportedly raised $1 billion since entering the race. According to reporting from the New York Times, former President Trump has raised around $853 million this calendar year. We received questions about how campaign funds can be used, including whether former President Trump can use his campaign funds to pay for his legal bills. Brandon Lewis looks into what is legal under U.S. law.
Former President Trump has spent millions on legal fees to fight his recent cases. Several verified viewers asked us whether Trump can use his campaign funds to help cover those bills. We used these sources and found the answer isn't straightforward.
The question of what's legal and illegal is not as clear as we'd like it to be. What I can say is, there are definitely ways for candidates to spend donor money on legal expenses that would not break the law.
The two main ways candidates fund their campaigns are with direct donations or money from political action committees, or PACs. The Brennan Center says almost all of Trump's legal fees are being paid with PAC money. These are funds from Trump-aligned groups like Save America or Make America Great Again Incorporated. Campaign finance law doesn't explicitly prohibit spending PAC money on personal expenses, including legal fees.
Under current law and under current guidance, Trump can use the funds from that leadership PAC to pay his legal expenses for personal matters.
The law is stricter when it comes to using campaign money. The Federal Elections Commission says candidates can only use campaign funds to cover campaign-related expenses, not personal ones. Campaign finance law spells out examples of personal expenses, but certain items like meals, travel expenses, and childcare can go either way. The FEC determines what counts as a personal expense on a case-by-case basis. This means Trump can use his campaign money for some legal bills, but only if it's directly related to his run for office. With You Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
We've fact-checked the issues, and now it's time to head to the polls. Casey Decker explains why you shouldn't think something's wrong if we don't know the results at the end of Election Day.
Election Day is November 5th, but we might not know the final results until days later. That doesn't mean something went wrong. It's part of the normal election calendar. Some states take longer than others to process ballots, whether because of low staffing, rules on when they can start counting, or waiting for mailed ballots to arrive. We don't know for sure when each state will be done counting, but they do all have deadlines by which the results need to be finalized and certified. Some states require local elections offices to certify their results the day after the election. Others give them a month. Then the states usually have a few extra days to tally and certify the statewide vote. For presidential elections, federal law requires all states to certify their results by December 11th.
On behalf of our entire Verify team, including my co-host Brandon Lewis, I hope you enjoyed the show and that you learned something new today. I'm Ariane Till. Now, there's bound to be lots of misinformation leading up to the election and even in the days after. So think twice before sharing a claim that isn't verified. You might just be sharing something that's intentionally deceptive. Now, if you're unsure about a claim, just send us a text to 202-410-8808, and we'll get right to work verifying whether it's true or false.
Ding dong!